Everybody, D Illa here. So our New York Giants fall to the Seattle Seahawks 27-13 yesterday. Today's Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you get to spend time with your kids and just enjoy trick-or-treating tonight, weather permitting, obviously, if you live on the East Coast. But yeah, our Giants fall to the Seahawks. We are now 6-2 going into the bye week. I think a lot of people had issues with the way the Giants came out and started that game. They didn't really didn't try to attempt to run the ball very much. They started out with a lot of passes. I think the Giants were just trying to catch the Seahawks on their heels to start the game out. Seattle was definitely looking for the run to start that game, and I think the Giants, like I said, just tried to flip the script just to see if they could come out and put some points on the board throwing the ball and really, kind of throw Seattle off as far as what the Giants' game plan would be going into that game. But those first couple drives, things didn't work out. And throughout the game, Saquon Barkley was not very effective. I think he had a 2.6 yards per carry average throughout the game. Obviously missing Evan Neal and, Daniel Bellinger on that offensive line to block for us definitely played a part in that struggling running game. And I mean, Seattle came out and played the run well, man. They prepared to play the run well just like we did. I mean, we held Kenneth Walker in check. He only had about 50 yards himself. He had a touchdown late in the game, obviously, when he broke away from about 20 yards out, if it was even that. But they prepared just like we did as far as that game went. Both teams came out and attempted to stop the run, and both teams did that pretty well throughout the entire game. I thought Seattle did a really good job of moving Geno Smith in and out of that pocket and just getting him to roll out and find his open wide receivers when he had the chance to. Obviously, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett were coming into this game questionable. A lot of us didn't think DK Metcalf was going to play in this game today, but he toughed it out, scored himself a touchdown, and had around 50 yards himself. Same with Tyler Lockett. He dropped a touchdown earlier in the game, but he came right back after Pete Carroll went to him on the sidelines and tapped him on his head and said, man, we're going to need a touchdown from you later on in this game. I listened to this game on NFL Plus. I didn't get a chance to watch it because, obviously, again, in my area, the game was not on. So I had to sit there and listen to the Seattle broadcast. So I'm sure, as you can tell, that was just a delight within itself. But yeah, they said Carroll went over there and said something to Lockett about them needing him later on in the game, and Lockett ended up coming through for him late with that touchdown to put them up. I think that was the score that put them up 27-13 at that point, after another Richie James fumble on a punt return. Richie James definitely affected the outcome of that game. We had some bad luck in that one. In previous games, we had the bounces going our way, which it may have enabled us to win some of those games. But in this one, we even if you think back on the field goal try that Seattle attempted earlier on in the game that we blocked, and it ended up hitting the bottom of the crossbar and still going through the field goal post for 3 points on that one. I mean, we just couldn't get a bounce in that one. We had too many turnovers, especially on special teams, which absolutely killed this team. Really couldn't get anything going in the passing game. Tanner Hudson and Darius Slayton were our most reliable options. And, I think Slayton had, 60 yards. I think Tanner Hudson had 55. I mean, he seemed like he was a pretty good pass catcher throughout the game, but as far as him blocking, he really wasn't much of a factor when it came to doing that. I think he had 3 catches for 55 yards. So, I mean, looking forward, maybe Tanner Hudson gives us a little something at the tight end position as far as a pass catcher goes. If you look forward as far as the trade deadline, I don't know what we're going to do at wide receiver, man. Hopefully there's going to be a guy available, but at this point it doesn't look very good. If there's nobody out there to pick up, based on these teams, making these players available, there ain't much we can do. Jerry Jeudy he's off the trade block. Denver won the other day. So, their hopes are still alive, so they're going to roll with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy and, see what they can do. It seems like maybe Russell Wilson is finally starting to put it together a little bit. Greg Dulcich, their rookie tight end, he's playing pretty well too. He had 87 yards within himself, so that team seems like they're coming on. Chase Claypool, it doesn't look as though, the Steelers are going to move away from him. I think they're still looking for a second-round pick, and I don't think anybody's going to give up a second-round pick for Chase Claypool at this point. So it looks like that trio of Deontay Johnson, Claypool, and what's his name, the other rookie that they drafted. I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, he's probably not going to be available. Brandon Cooks got a big-time contract. I don't know exactly what's going on with him. I said if the Giants were going to sniff around the Houston Texans for a wide receiver, I would be asking a lot of questions about Nico Collins to see if they could possibly pry him away from the Texans, because he's a guy that Yeah, he hasn't necessarily hit his stride yet, but he's a guy that could definitely turn into something down the road. Would he necessarily help us now? I mean, probably not, but I mean, he could probably get us like 60 or 70-yard games here and there, but he'd probably definitely be much better than what we have at our disposal right now. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to bring in a free agent wide receiver. It's looking pretty grim at this point as far as that goes, but we'll see what happens, man. Trade deadline's tomorrow, 4 o'clock, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, the Giants take the loss. The defense overall played pretty well. I think, we held DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in check for most of the game. The only bad thing about how the game turned out is, those two guys weren't at 100% throughout the whole entire game, and they were still able to walk away with touchdowns apiece. So that's kind of discouraging on that part. But I mean, for the most part, the secondary did play very well against them, and the defense played very well against the run throughout the whole entire game, holding an explosive running back in Kenneth Walker to only 53 or 55 yards and a touchdown. But yeah, we go into our bye week. We got to get healthy. Got to try to figure out this offense and see if we can get ourselves some reliable options in this passing game. I'm not going to knock Daniel Jones. I've already gone through that period here on YouTube. I definitely started to buy into what a lot of people were saying about Daniel Jones after, I was a guy that was defending the guy for nearly 3 years. And I just kind of started to think that maybe everybody else was right on YouTube about Daniel Jones. And I started to buy into it, and I started to bash the guy myself, but I'm not going to place any blame on Daniel Jones for that game. The Seattle's corners played our wide receivers very well, and there just really wasn't anywhere for him to throw the ball from what I've seen based on highlights. But, I mean, the offensive line seemed like they gave him pretty good protection. But still, I mean, when you don't have the horses on the outside to make plays, man, you're not going to get anything done. The defensive line, I think we had 3 sacks on the game. Xavier McKinney had a sack. McFadden had a sack. Leonard Williams had a sack. So, I mean, defensive line was putting pressure along with our secondary, pieces. They were putting pressure on the quarterback. Again, Geno Smith was just moving very well out of the pocket and just making the throws that he needed to make and propelling the Seattle Seahawks to a victory. So, we're 6-2. We're in our bye week. Things are still looking up. Don't drop your head after this one. Keep your head up. And let's go into the second half and continue to win ball games and make a push to the playoffs and see if we can make something happen. Hopefully we can bring in another option at wide receiver. We'll see what happens. But until that point, you guys take care. Enjoy your Halloween again, and I'll talk to you in the next one. All right, bye.